everyone, Chef Patty here with AvMed Health, and today I am making one of my favorite Mediterranean inspired soups, and that is a sausage, white bean, and kale soup. Like all my recipes, it is loaded with flavor and easy to make. So let's get started. The first thing I did was that I went ahead and I cooked off 1 pound of chicken sausage. So here's a little tip. If your grocery store does not sell ground chicken or turkey sausage, they only have the links, which is what I ended up having to do. I bought the links, and then all I did was remove the inside from the casing, and then obviously I threw away the casing, but that's how I was able to get my ground chicken sausage. So I went ahead and I cooked it off. I cooked it in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So because I have a little bit of oil already in the pan, so I'm not gonna wash this pan. I'm using the same pan that I used to cook the sausage. So now we are going to continue building flavor. So the first thing I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and saute an onion. So I have 1 large onion that I roughly chopped. So the onion went in, and for the purpose of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna cook the full recipe, but when you follow my recipe, you'll see that we're going to saute the veggies for a few minutes before we continue with the remaining ingredients. So make sure you follow my recipe. My recipe is always gonna be on the AvMed Health wall, on the Facebook page wall, so make sure you grab the recipe from there. So the onions are in, my heat is on. Now I'm gonna add the rest of my veggies. So I've got 2 large carrots that I have sliced. So these are going in. And then I've got 2 celery stalks that I also sliced. So if you wanna dice it, you can, that's up to you. I kinda like this whole look of just very rustic. We're going to just give it a little stir. I'm gonna add the garlic, and I've got 4 cloves of garlic. So there's lots of flavor here in this soup. You can dice your garlic as small as you wish. So usually when I am starting with my larger veggies, like in this case, the onion, the celery, the carrots, I'm gonna saute these for about 5 minutes prior to adding the garlic. The garlic only takes 20 to 30 seconds, right? You wanna make sure that it never burns. So any recipe that you make that requires larger veggies and then something small like garlic, just remember the larger ones first. So this is starting to sweat a little bit. Now I am gonna continue with the rest of my ingredients. I'm gonna go ahead and add some seasonings. I've got Italian seasoning, I've got kosher salt, black pepper, and a pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. I like adding just a little pinch. It's not necessarily gonna be spicy, but it is gonna add a whole other layer of flavor. So going in my spices. And it's really good to kind of season your veggies and season in layers, because that way you don't add all the seasoning at the end, and your food is gonna be much more flavorful. Adding the broth. So you wanna add, I like adding 4 cups of either chicken or veggie, and this recipe yields for 4 servings, and I usually do 4 cups of broth. You might lose a little bit, about 1/4 cup with evaporation. So 4 cups is a good amount, maybe a little more if you wanna do 4 1/4 to be really exact. So I'm gonna let this come to a boil, not right now, but in the recipe, I let this come to a boil. Now I'm gonna continue with the rest, and what happens that once this comes to a boil, then you're ready, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes for it to simmer, come to a full boil, then you can lower your heat to like a medium low, and then you put your chicken or your turkey sausage back in. Such an easy recipe, and it's so good. It's so delicious. It's great, and then you can even serve it with a little crusty bread at the end if you want. And it's a cozy recipe, which is like one of my favorites. All right. So The chicken sausage went in. Now I am gonna add my diced tomatoes from a can, 1 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes in the soup. A few sprigs of fresh thyme going in. I have 2 cans of white cannellini beans. I use cannellini beans a lot because they're very creamy. Cannellini beans are white kidney beans. So this is going to make the soup even heartier and add some luscious creaminess to it. Okay. And then I'm adding chopped kale. Remember, whenever you're working with kale, you want to remove the leaves from the thick stem in the middle. And that's it. I gave it a little rough chop. My kale is going in. If you don't like kale and you want to use spinach leaves, you can. So this is going to cook 20 minutes or so, and everything is just going to develop, and it's going to be so good. And when you're done, well, one more thing I want to add at this step is this is one of my little secrets. So when I'm making soup, I save the rinds to my Parmesan cheese and I keep them in the freezer. And then whenever I'm making a pot of soup or a pot of beans, all I do is add that in here. And then at the end, if it doesn't melt all the way, you can remove the rind right before serving, along with the sprigs of fresh thyme. So this big guy here is gonna cook for, I don't know, I guess 20 minutes or so. Once it is completely done, what you're gonna do is, and I have one that I previously made, and I'm gonna show you now how I finish it, but I always like to finish it with some lemon zest and a little lemon juice for a zing. And I think you guys are really gonna love this recipe. Let me move this to the back so I can make room to show you the finished soup. I don't know if you guys can see this from here. I hope you can. It's got big chunks of carrots and pieces of the chicken sausage and the kale and the white beans. It's so yummy. Okay, let me continue. If not, I will be here forever just kind of talking about the soup. So lemon zest. And the lemon zest adds a lot of flavor, but if you don't like lemon and you don't have a lemon, it's okay, you can skip it, but I highly encourage you to add some lemon zest. And remember, when you get to the white part, you want to stop. This is the pith. The pith tends to be very bitter, so you only want the outer layer of the citrus. And now, we're gonna add some of the lemon juice. So yummy. Okay. I am ready to plate, but I'm not done yet. I'm gonna plate my soup. And then remember, don't forget to remove your Parmesan rind and the thyme leaves right before serving. It's so brothy but creamy at the same time. So, so good. Now what I like to do is I'm going to grate some fresh parm. Yum. Okay, now a little olive oil for extra flavor. And some fresh parsley, because we always need to make it pretty and add something crisp and green. And here we have it, friends. Here's our Mediterranean-inspired sausage, white bean, and kale soup. I hope you make it at home. Let us know if you love it. Send us any questions, and That's it. I'll see you soon. Ciao. Mwah.